Make sure you understand it. Make a copy so that you have it for yourself. And understand how the grading is done. And that would be located there in the syllabus. You want to complete all the required paperwork for the first week. It's really important that you do that because you need to have that finished in order to get started. The first thing that you want to do too is to attend the first discussion by Wednesday evening. So it's typically a good idea to go in on Monday and take a look around and get your feet wet on the first day of class. And then by Wednesday, respond to the discussion question that is out there for everybody that's in the course to look at. Everybody will respond to that discussion, and then you'll be able to respond to 2 peers by Friday of that, or excuse me, by Saturday of that same week. This is important because this feature takes the place of a face-to-face setting. So instead of having to come to class on Wednesday evening and sit with your fellow students and chat about whatever the topic is, that happens in this discussion. So you need to be there by Wednesday. And be sure that your contact information is correct. Many times we need to contact a student and either the phone number is not correct or your email is for some reason not working properly. So you want to make sure that that is correct. It's your responsibility to make sure that we can contact you. You want to make sure too to do the journal and the application assignment for that first week to get started. And as I said, follow up with your peer discussions by Saturday. So 3 things that you have to do as far as assignments go in the first week. That's your discussion, the journal, and the application assignment. And basically, the application assignment is the required paperwork. So for the application assignment for the first week, you'll need to complete your your confidentiality statement, your student expectations, your training agreement. And there's 3 pages to that, so you want to make sure that those are done. Your immunization record and your timesheets are those that you keep during the weeks. So those aren't really due the first week, but you should familiarize yourself with them. So in order to start counting your hours towards your cooperative work experience, you need to have all that paperwork into whoever your instructor is, either Rui or myself, and then we must review it, sign it, and send it on to the main office in order for you to start. So as you can see, it's kind of a time-sensitive thing and needs to be done right away. You can submit those documents to the first application assignment in week 1 by scanning them and uploading them in document form. Okay. Here's the link to the syllabus. So here's your syllabus right here. So if you highlight that link right there and right click on it, you should be able to pull that up. If not, then it's located on the main page on the left-hand column in the coursework. Okay, so here's those 3 things that you need to have done: the discussion, the application assignments, and your journal responses. So for your discussion, it's going to be topical based on whatever the question of the week is. And then there's that little thing that keeps popping up about the link there. And then your application assignments have to do with, are also topical, have to do with things like ethics in early childhood, dealing with child abuse and neglect, and those kinds of things that you typically come across when you're working with young children. And then your journal is a very important feature because that's how we know what you're doing each week in your early childhood CWE, because you'll respond there and talk about what you're doing on a weekly basis. You'll need one response in your journal for each credit. So if you have 2 credits, you'll need 2 separate journal entries for each week. And if you have 1 credit, it would be 1 journal entry per week. Okay? In your application assignment for each week, you will need to look at whichever track is going to be appropriate for you. So there's 2 tracks. Track 1 is for folks who are just starting out with the CWE. They've not had at least a term of the cooperative work experience yet and just getting started. So those are the track 1 assignments. And then track 2 is for folks who are continuing on, who've already had at least 1 term of cooperative work experience and are feeling pretty good about starting this second track. For some folks who maybe have had a hard time with their first track, or they had to drop the course or whatever, then they would start with track 1 over. But be sure and talk to your instructor about which is appropriate for you. And then each week you'll need to complete your contact hours for your CWE. Each credit requires a total of 33 contact hours. So if you're taking 1 credit, then it's 33 hours. If you're taking 2 credits, it's 66 total contact hours. Some of those hours can be also outside of the classroom if you are working on a particular assignment or research that has to do with your goals or something that is approved by your instructor. Otherwise, it would be working in a classroom or whatever setting that you happen to be in. And then your CWE timesheet is required for the term. About halfway through the term, we have you turn in 1 timesheet. Be sure to have those folks who are supervising you on site sign those. So your on-site supervisor must sign your timesheet for it to be valid. And then make sure that all of the hours that you are there in the work site are validated. And be sure then to let that supervisor know if you're doing outside work like research for your hours to count. Your CWE experience is also based on goals that you set during the term. So an important thing about goals is that if you set a goal, then you're going to strive towards it by trying to meet objectives. So you set a goal and then objectives for each of those goals. And then there are little kind of helpful things in the website that can help you to tell what you need to do as far as goal setting. Also, a discussion with your instructor might help. The first goal that you want to write will be about working with young children and families. That's your academic goal. And that would be, like, for instance, if you're having difficulties managing behaviors that are troublesome, that might be one of the goals for your setting, that you're going to learn more about working with difficult behaviors. And then goal 2 is your professional goal, and that has to do with professionalism. So that could be, for instance, leveling on your step with the state early childhood program. Or you could join maybe the Oregon Association for the Education of Young Children or something like that. So that would be another goal, but it's a professional goal. Okay, so 2 coaching visits are required each term. And, you know, it's winter. Sometimes it's not easy for us to travel, or sometimes there are other things that happen and we can't get together. So they can be done on the phone, and it's nice if you can do a video chat. Otherwise, they can be a visit that's on site or in a designated place. For instance, I had one student that was working on literacy, and we visited at the library. Then just make sure that you understand that these visits are not meant to be critical, but supportive and helpful. So to answer questions, to give information, to talk about what's going on at your placement, maybe tasks that you need to be doing, goals, and of course, how to get going on your final project or wrap it up, as the case may be. the final project. Your final project is going to be related to your CWE experience, and it's very important that you probably get started on that within the first couple of weeks after you have your goals and ideas straightened out about what you want to be learning during your cooperative work experience. It will be presented online. Other students will be able to see what you have presented, so it needs to be written fairly clearly and in thinking about whoever is viewing it. So whoever's viewing it may not see everything that you do during the term, so you need to be able to explain it fairly clearly. It can be in PowerPoint or Word or another acceptable presentation mode, and it is due in week 10. Well, we've been kind of running through this pretty quickly, but my video has a time limit, so it needs to be pretty fast, I think. So here's our contact information for me and for Rui and for Dawn. Our email addresses and phone numbers are listed for you. If you can't get a hold of us, we are supposed to be responding to you fairly quickly, and for me, it's within 24 to 48 hours. So if you leave me an email, then I will get back to you. And also, when you're calling on the phone, please identify yourself and leave a message so that we know that it's not a crank call. Well, that's about it for the CWE. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact your instructor. Or if you can't find your instructor, you can contact Dawn and she'll see if she can give you a hand. But mostly, Rui and I work in tandem, so if you have a question, we usually pass it on to the appropriate person. We really look forward to working with you this term and hope to see you online. Thank you.